Thank you for purchasing Risk Management Tool and welcome to our quick guide on how to use this template. You will find a few tabs at the bottom: Welcome, Settings, Dashboard, and Risk Register. We will go through all of them one by one. First, in the Settings tab, you have Risk Assessment Metrics at the top left, and on the right-hand side, you have options to customize it as per your project's requirement or your organization's standards. This probability impact matrix is connected to these columns, so all these options will reflect over here and in the Risk Register tab. If you would like to change any of these options, you can change in this column. For example, for the probability, we have options very high, high, medium, low, and very low. Maybe you want to call, instead of very low, you want to call it insignificant. Or if you have any other options that your company or your project wants to call it, you can change them and they will reflect here and in the Risk Register tab. Similarly, if you want to call, instead of severe, maybe you want to call it extreme, you can change these options here. This risk impact result matrix is the combination of these two. For example, very high and very high probability and negligible impact is option medium. If you want to change this, you can change these and they will reflect in the drop down. And moreover, you can also change these options, these results. For example, maybe for your project, very high probability and negligible impact would be low risk. You can change from the drop down, or you can select very low or medium. It depends on how you identify these KPIs. Also, you can see that these results are color coded. For example, very low result is dark green, low is light green, medium is yellow, orange is high, and for the critical we have selected red colors. So you can also change, for example, maybe for your project you want to say that probability is very high and impact is rare, but you want to consider it as a high risk, and you can change it here. As soon as you make these changes in this settings tab, they will appear in the Risk Register tab as well. Below the matrix, you have a column to define the categories or departments. For example, if the risk belongs to operational department, financial, compliance, or you can define these categories and departments here in this column. Next, you have assignee or risk owner. You can write the names of all the people who will be responsible for this risk. And as soon as you write these names, you will be able to assign them the risk in the Risk Register tab. Next, we have a Risk Register tab. In this tab, we will enter all the details of the risk to manage and track it. First, you have a Risk ID column. As you can see, it is colored in gray, so you don't have to update this. It will automatically generate a Risk ID. As soon as you write the risk description in the column B, for example, project delay, just to give you an example, it will generate a risk ID over here. So you don't have to write in this column. In this column, you can write the risk description. And in this column C, you can assign the department or category that we have already entered in the settings tab. For example, you can select from the drop down all the options that you have. In the next two columns, cause and consequence, you can describe the risk. What was the cause of the risk? For example, delay in design phase, it was caused by insufficient staffing, and what could be the consequence, that is project delay or cost overrun. Next, we have probability and impact column. These options are coming from the settings tab that we have seen over here. If you make any changes over here, they will appear in the Risk Register tab. So we have high, very high, medium, low, and very low probability, and the impact options are severe, significant, moderate, minor, and negligible. Risk severity column will automatically populate, and risk score as well. As you can see, they are colored in gray. So for risk severity, we have these options. If the probability is very high and the impact is severe, we will have critical risk, as can be seen in this table over here. High probability and significant impact is critical. For example, if I deem this risk as very low, just to give you an example, high and severe. Let me go back. High and severe, if I consider this as very low, then it should give me a low risk severity. I'll just go back. Risk score is coming from the score over here that we have already identified for each of these factors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The maximum would be 25. For example, if my probability is very high and my impact is severe, then it will give me a score of 25. Let me go back. Next, in the risk owner column, you can assign the risk to a responsible. You can select from the drop-down the names that we have entered in the settings tab. Next, you can assign the risk response strategy. So we have standard options of these avoid the risk, accept, mitigate, transfer, or escalate. So you can decide what kind of actions do you want. For example, if you want to mitigate the risk or if you want to accept the risk, and you can choose that option from the drop-down. In the next column, you can select the due date. It is the date that you want to take the action by. And in the priority column, you can identify whether the risk is high, medium, or low priority. It is possible that you have a risk severity which is different than priority. It could be that you have critical risk that you want to transfer to someone else, and it is a medium priority for yourself. Next, in the status column, you can track the status, whether the risk action has started, in progress, or complete. And in the last column, you can write the risk response or action that you have taken to mitigate, avoid the risk. For example, increase staffing, adjust timelines. You can write the description of all the actions that you have taken. Next, in the dashboard tab, you will have a visual representation of few KPIs that we have developed. For example, at the top, you have total number of risks that are 30, and how many of them are active, and how many are overdue. These are the risks that have passed their deadline, and how many of them we have completed. In the last column over here, you see average risk score. This is average rating of all the active risks, not the completed one. So you can see that our risks are not that high. It's 9.5 out of 25. Below that, you have a few graphs. First is breakdown of risk by status, how many of them are completed, in progress, and not started, and how many are in the very low severity, low, medium, high, or critical. Below that, you have a breakdown of risk by strategy. For example, if you want to avoid, accept, mitigate, transfer, and escalate. And risk by priority, how many of them are in low priority, high, or medium. Below that, you have a breakdown of risk distribution by priority across different departments. For example, operational department have 2 high priority risk, 3 medium, and 2 low priority risks. Similarly, for other departments, as soon as you enter more departments, they will populate over here in this section. Over here, you can see risk severity distribution among departments. For example, operational department have 3 low priority, 3 low severity risks, and 2 high severity, and 2 critical. Next, you have breakdown for each risk owner. This will give you an overview of how the employees workload and how the risks are divided among employees. For example, as you can see, John Doe has 4 risks that has not been started, and 1 risk that is in progress. Over here, you have a breakdown by severity. For example, let's take an example of John Doe. He has 1 very low severity risk, 1 low, and then 1 high, 2 critical. This will give you a quick overview of the workload of your employees and their progress. Below that, you have impact probability matrix. This will give you an overview of how many risks are divided in which quadrant. For example, you can see the high probability and severity impact is 1, and very low probability and negligible impact is 1. So you can quickly see how the risks are divided. And over here, you have a pie chart of risk breakdown by impact. As you can see, negligible are 3, and then the minor are 2, and so on. I hope this tutorial has been useful. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.